Bonafide, your trusted real estate professionals, and welcome to Everything Long Island.
And I'm Melanie Calmer, and this is my handsome and debonair husband, Jesse Valadares, and we are here at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Laffey International Realty, in our Woodbury office, but we can also be seen in our Williston Park office for those of you that live in Nassau and closer to the city.
That's right. So you can find us anywhere.
So Jesse, what should we talk about now? I think if I had to choose, I would say we should talk about what it's like for a buyer to purchase a home from beginning to end.
You know what? I like that. We've been concentrating on sellers so much.
We have.
And then just on preparing homes and things like that. I agree with you. I think we should touch on the topic of buyers.
So,
because I think they need it. I think a lot of people should know the process to make them successful and make the entire purchase experience a good one.
Right. So the first thing they need to do, in my opinion, which is true, is they need to get a pre-approval, have that done so that they know what they can afford, so that they know what kind of down payment they have. That's going to help them figure out price, right? They need to establish an area where they're looking. In that pre-approval, it's going to tell them what kind of taxes they can afford, monthly payments, right? Could you go into more details since you did mortgage?
I would. You're right about the pre-approval. It's a good start. But I would even, if you're preparing to buy a house, you're thinking about it, I'd start way before
Credit
the pre-approval.
score.
Well, yes, credit score, of course. It should be a no-brainer, guys. Make sure that you have a good credit score.
Yeah.
If you need to work on it, take anything that's negative on your credit score and have it removed. And it's very easy. Okay. Let's say, for example, you owe, your credit balance is too high. Just know that the credit bureaus will drop your score if you're carrying a balance that's 30% or more of the limit of your credit limit. So bring it down. Okay, you have anything that's a negative, derogative on your credit score, pay it off, write to all three credit bureaus, send the proof, and they'll fix they'll fix it, they'll remove it off your credit report, and they'll fix your credit score.
Can't they just email the credit bureaus?
Well, no, you can dispute certain things on your credit report. You can dispute it online. But I don't suggest that. The best way is always to dispute it in writing.
Because why?
Okay,
What's the benefit to writing?
There's certain clauses. If I recall, there's certain clauses when you do it online that it's kind of like a final deal. You only get like one shot at it. If you do it in writing, you can go back and revisit.
That's really crucial.
It's a continuing issue. But so yes, I would start with making sure your credit score is as high as possible. I'd also work on the savings, because one of the things that's going to happen, guys, is when you go for a mortgage, for example, and most people do, when you go for a mortgage, they're going to want to see where your down payment money is coming from. They're going to want to see where your closing cost funds are coming from. And they're going to want what's called seasoning. They're going to want to know not only where it came from, but they want to know that it's not just money you threw in there yesterday because somebody gave you money and they lent you money. They want to know that you've had that money there for a while. It's called seasoning. So, save ahead. Make sure that it's if you're self-employed, that you're putting money in an account just to buy the house, and that money's been there for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Because you want to show, it's basically showing stability.
What about your tax returns if you're self-employed? How do they have to look? How many years back do you have to go?
Well, so typically they only ask for 2 years.
Okay, so 2
years on tax returns. And you know what? We're going to have our mortgage guy, Eric, here. And he can really discuss a lot of it, because there's different programs too. There's sometimes you may not be able to qualify with your tax returns, but they can do it with your bank statements.
Right.
So there are different programs, but as far as preparing, like Melanie said, make sure your credit score is as high as possible. Within your credit scores, trade lines are important. You want to have 3 open trade lines, meaning 3 different creditors with a minimum of $1,000 credit on each. So obviously, if you have a car loan, that's a good one. If you have a credit card, it has to be that your credit limit is at least $1,000. But you want to have 3 of these open. Ideally, 4, trade lines open. Okay, and they should be open for 2 years. Okay.
So there's a lot of preparing.
These are all
that goes
things,
into
right, that
this.
you need to make sure you prepare before you go out shopping for a house. Because they're going to frown on, a credit card you just got 3 months ago, and they're not really going to consider that as a trade
Right.
line. So you want to have these accounts open for at least 2 years, $1,000 limit on each. Have money already in the account that you're going to be using to fund the purchase, sitting there, have it seasoned for several months, 3-4 months.
Right.
And once you do that, then you can start, okay, now let's go for the pre-approval process. So there you're going to provide, and you don't want to just pre-qualify. That's one thing, because a lot of times we'll get pre-qualification letters. A pre-approval letter carries more weight, just so everyone knows. Now a proper pre-approval, okay, is one where you've given that loan officer everything, meaning, they ran your credit. They saw your bank statements, where the money's coming from. They checked your income. So they checked your pay stubs. They looked at 2 years returns. That's a proper evaluation.
And not just that, but as the listing agents on the property, those people, when they're doing their due diligence, are going to call that loan person and say, so are they really qualified? And they may say, well, I think so, but I have to check. And then boom, you lost the house. So, not good if you're not taking it, to the right level.
And what happens is, listen, people don't know. Like, you're a first-time home buyer. You're going to what you think is a mortgage professional, and and what typically I see happens is they do a quick credit check, and then they maybe ask them a few questions, and they go, okay, yeah, you qualify. Or maybe they're even asking you for a bank statement, but they didn't go as far as asking you for your tax returns. And then make sure that they really ask for everything, because that's going to save you time later on once you're ready to buy that house.
Yeah, definitely.
So yes, there's a lot of work to do before you get that pre-approval. So get all those things in order that we just mentioned. Then you go get yourself a good pre-approval, not a pre-qualification, get a pre-approval. And then you can go house hunting, and they're going to give you parameters. They're going to say, okay, you qualify for X amount of dollars to buy a house.
With
and
X
this
taxes.
is the kind of the payment, right? And then the taxes is what you can kind of play with to make sure your payments work out. So there is a lot of preparation. Another thing for our first-time homebuyers, I think, I gotta ask Eric, I think we still have grant programs for first-time homebuyers.
I don't know. We'll get into the weeds
so
with him.
that would be an interesting thing to go over.
Once you have done that, you know your price point of what you can afford, you know your taxes, which allows you to utilize knowing what area you're looking in. You know your town now, because houses are kind of in that price
now
range.
they've told you
with
this is
those
where
taxes.
you qualify for an $800,000 house, so you're not going to go looking in in Jericho at a $3 million home.
Right,
You only
of
qualify
course.
for an $800,000.
So when you meet that broker the first day that you meet them, when they first meet you, you have to sign some paperwork, because now it is required that you sign a buyer-broker agreement.
Correct.
Now, it can be on a property, it could be for a length of time, but regardless, you need to sign 3 forms. One is an agency disclosure form, disclosing their agency, which means the agent that you're meeting is disclosing who they work for, okay? Now, let's say you say, you know what, I don't know anyone yet, I'm just gonna go to an open house. Well, when you go to that open house, that representative of that seller is now going to be acting as a dual agent, okay? So that's a dual agent situation. Now, they're also going to be asking you to sign an anti-discrimination form. The anti-discrimination form is saying that the seller has agreed not to discriminate. We as brokers never discriminate. We don't. And then you as the purchaser are not going to discriminate.
Can I jump in a second?
Yes.
Because you just brought you were saying all these things, and it just brought up a little pet peeve of mine.
Yes.
Guys, especially you buyers, if you're working with a broker, make sure your broker goes to the open houses with you. Make sure they work for their damn money.
Well,
it drives me insane to get an email or get a text and say, hey, I have some buyers going over. I can't make it, but here's their information so I can get paid if they buy the house. If they're not willing to go to every single house with you, don't work with them. Because what they're supposed to be doing is checking out the house and making sure that that house is going to work for you, your family, for whoever is going to be living there.
It's true.
And making sure that it's in good condition and all your needs are going to be met by that house.
now let's just say,
I
let's
can't
just say,
stand
yes.
that people show up having brokers
But sometimes,
and they don't do their job.
if the agent that's going to be taking them, and a lot of people do this where they're using their listing agent is doing the first open houses, and they're going out themselves. They're going around. Now, if the agent can't accompany them, that's fine. I understand. But they should be going back and seeing it, or doing some due diligence, or trying to preview it, or having the agent there on FaceTime. Looking around the house and seeing things. Because you know what? If you are a first-time home buyer, it's hard for you to know what is right.
I understand. There are
some
moments,
exceptions. There
are moments.
But generally speaking, Jesse's saying, if they just have you sign a paper and they let you go, that's not acceptable. I agree.
I see it. So we see it so much. It just drives us. In fact, I just received this week 2 notices of that. Yes. Oh, my buyers are going. I can't make it.
Yes, but I will also say to you,
that's not representation.
No, it's not. But also, I also don't think, and some agents or brokers may not agree with me on this. I don't think you should sign a year-long buyer-broker agreement with someone. I think you need to test them out, and they need to test you out and see if you work well together.
No, I agree.
And you mesh. Because you know what? I like to do 2-3 months first and see if we like each other, and renew another 3 months or another 6 months. Because you know what? It's not all a guarantee that it's going to work out. We had buyers that we actually fired because, Jesse has the patience of a saint. He's a contractor. He's been doing contracting forever. And we had a couple that was a contractor, and the wife, I won't say what she did, and literally we would go out and he would find problems with every single house, and we would tell them, we would present the comps for them and say, this should be, if you want to get the house, your offer should be X or Y, and they wouldn't listen, and they would miss the houses, and it was just madness. And it was a referral from a past client, and we checked in at a later date and found out, guess what? We fired them, but they never bought a home.
No, they weren't buyers. They weren't, or at least they weren't ready to buy.
They were just tire kickers, and they won't be for years.
But
They're just not ready.
I agree with you. I don't think you should
don't
tie each other up.
That's what I'm saying.
For a year or whatever.
I don't think a year is a good idea.
Right. If you're, I agree with you.
But it's an interesting thing.
I think you do it for a couple of months.
Yeah, 2 months,
and
3 months. If it works out,
you'll be happy to renew.
Yeah. It's just,
But I think also that happens is because people are insecure of themselves.
Yeah, maybe.
And the way they work, and they just want to wrap you up in some sort of an agreement.
Which is scary too. We don't do that. No. We don't.
If we don't
it's kind of like taking a listing or selling a home. We don't just take a listing. We don't just take a buyer either.
Right. And
so
we want you to be happy, and we want to be happy working with you.
And we want to set you up for success. Yeah. And you should be able to trust us and look to us as the professionals that we are.
Yeah. So prepare before you even start looking. Right.
Don't be surprised when
credit check. Yep. Getting your tax returns, getting all that to the mortgage person, getting yourself a pre-approval, choosing an agent or broker that fits you, your lifestyle, your personality, that you get along with,
and that you trust,
and that you trust it's going to do a good job.
Because you know what, they should be able to, if you trust your broker, which you should, that you're working with as a buyer, they should be able to recommend to you an attorney or 2 or 3, a home inspector or 2 or 3. They're not supposed to recommend someone that's just going to make you buy the house. That's not the idea. When you get your home inspection done, It is supposed to be a to-do list. When you purchase a home, the requirements are it needs to be leak-free, termite-free, working heat, and safe, meaning no water in the electrical box. The electrical box needs to be safe, secure, closed, things like that. Those are the requirements. Anything other than that, like, the windows are drafty, the roof has, 2 years left on its life, things like that. Those are all to-do list items. If you're not buying a new construction that comes with a year warranty, you have to understand that you're going to be putting in some work. That's having a home is constantly keeping up with it, and doing that, you're maintaining your investment, and you're going to get the highest rate of return.
Yeah. You know what? I also want buyers out there to also be prepared. Once you did all these things and you're going out, remember, financially, you need to be prepared for the down payment. Could be as low as 3.5%.
Yes.
Depending on the loan you're qualifying for. Closing costs. Keep in mind, closing costs here in New York, you can bet on 6% of the purchase price. All right, so do the math.
Attorney fees.
6% of whatever you're paying for the house. Keep
Attorney
that in mind because you need that. The other thing you need to realize is you need to pay for that homeowner's insurance.
Yes.
Up front for the first year. So you got to calculate that into the finances of the money you need to have on the purchase. So it's down payment, 6% closing cost, insurance for the year, and then
attorney fees.
Need 3 or 4 months of reserves.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
Mortgage. So if the mortgage is $4,000 a month, I would figure 4 months. You should have 3, but I would figure 4 months. So 4 times 4, 16,000. Okay, so down payment, 6% closing costs, first years of insurance, 4 months of reserve mortgage payments. That's the money you need to have. So it's a lot to prepare for. But I want you buyers out there to be successful. So I want you to know those things up front. That way it's not a surprise later. Because sometimes realtors, don't tell you, hey, you're going to have to pay this insurance. And then you have other little miscellaneous things that are going to be part of the closing costs, right? Like the inspector.
The termite inspector.
Hey, an appraisal, things like that.
Yep, all those things. The attorney fees. It all goes into it. So you have to prepare yourself financially for this, monstrosity that you're taking on.
And I want you to avoid this. Don't take out any loans. Don't go buy a car when you're in the middle of looking for a house.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I used to do mortgages, I'd see this. And I gave you a pre-qualification the day you came to my office. I pre-approved you. And then you're looking for a house, but your debt to income levels were borderline.
And now you
and then all of a sudden you didn't tell me, and you ran out and bought yourself a nice new car, and now your debt to income levels don't work anymore.
And you can't get
because it showed up on your credit report.
Hey, you could live in your car, right?
So don't take out any loans. Don't do anything after you've been pre-approved.
Yeah.
This way you don't get in a situation where all of a sudden you qualified and now you don't.
And now you don't. It's true. There's
because
so many things.
You don't know how long it's going to take you to find that house.
That's true.
And that pre-approval, it's good, but it's only good for the moment they did it. When let's say you find a house 4 months after you got the pre-approval, well, guess what? They're going to rerun your credit.
Yeah.
They are.
And they're going to.
And then all of a sudden I go, wait a second, you have more debt than when I initially saw you.
Yep.
So do not take out any loans. Don't use your credit cards, unless you're going to pay them off. But don't start carrying. Start carrying debt. And don't get into new debt, because that's a big thing I see all the time.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's just there's so much, So let's say you make the offer. Okay. The buyer that makes the offer is accepted. Mm-hmm. They do their inspection, and their inspection comes back with, I don't know, name an issue. Figure out an issue.
It could be, let's say, I don't know, a big issue, or do we want to go with
Let's do one of each.
One of each. Well, a big issue is that, hey, you're going to need to replace this roof.
Okay. So how would they know?
It's on its last leg. It's like...
So how do they know how much a roof is going to cost?
Well, you can, you can get a professional. But if you want to get yourself a roundabout idea, always figure you can figure probably about $800 a square.
Okay, per square foot is a
Well,
square.
not per square foot. A square is 10 by 10.
Oh, well,
10
to
foot
lay
by
people.
10 foot, so it's 100 square feet.
Okay, so
every
100 square feet.
So
Yes.
let's say you measure and it's 1,500 square feet, so that times 800.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's a good
Yeah,
estimate.
and on an average house, let's say an average ranch house that's like 1,500 square feet, you're probably looking at, you can just figure in 20 grand easy for a roof.
I think it's more than that these
Could be more.
days.
Could be 25. It depends how big it is.
So that's a small problem. So then let's
No,
say.
that's a decent problem.
No, I'm sorry. That's what I meant. That's our large problem. What's a smaller problem?
So a
Sorry.
small problem, could be just something as simple as you just need some updating in the house. It's not a real problem, but hey, that water heater, it's towards the end of its life.
Yeah,
exactly. And it's going to cost you, maybe $2,000 to replace it.
Yeah, maybe.
That's not.
Yeah, things like that.
It's not a big problem, but if it's at the end of its
Exactly.
life, you're going to want to address it when you buy the house because you don't want that thing
And that's also money that you should have
leaking
saved for
and causing a flood.
emergencies.
Oh yeah, you should always have a rainy day fund.
So yeah, it's it's a lot. So okay, so let's say everything's good. The pre-approval is good. They are going in. Their inspection went well. Everything is fine.
Yay, we're ready.
We're
gonna
ready
buy
to
this
go.
house.
So, as the broker, we send over the accepted offer paperwork. We send over the pre-approval. We send over any documentation, the survey copy, floor plan, anything that we have that we can. We send over to the attorney. The attorney is going to now. This is we're sending it over to the seller's attorney. Okay. Seller's attorney, this is the seller's agent sending all this stuff to the seller's attorney, and as the buyer, your attorney is going to be getting this contract from the seller's attorney sent to your attorney. Your attorney is going to go over it, the buyer's attorney, and scrutinize line by line, go through it. Takes, it could take a few days, it could take a week or so, but make sure that you're working with someone that is recommended, because if not, it could take weeks. And weeks kill deals. It just does. People in low inventory markets, someone could come up tomorrow and have a higher offer, and that seller may say, you know what, tough skis. I'm moving on to the next guy. So let's say you went with the right attorney, an attorney that's timely. Your buyer's attorney goes over it, says they work it out. It's time for you to come in. What do they have to do when they come in, the buyer?
You're saying to the attorney's office?
Yeah, the buyer's going into the attorney's office, and what do they do?
Well, they're going to go in, they're going to review the contract, and hopefully everything's good in the contract, and there's not a lot of... Usually by the time your attorney brings you into the office, it's because they've already negotiated the contract.
So what do
you're
they
going to go
do?
in, they're going to discuss it with you, and tell you everything that's important in the contract, and you're going to sign.
And
okay.
What else do you bring?
And then you're going to give your down payment. You can do that by wiring it. You can bring a check. There's different forms. They'll instruct you on how to do it.
And it goes into an escrow
And it goes
account.
into an escrow account, right.
So so now, all right.
But then now the clock starts ticking.
Now the
because
clock
what you
starts.
should be doing is once you signed and you gave over your deposit, okay, what I want you to do immediately to make the process go smoothly is you have to start thinking, okay, I gave them initially when I did the pre-approval my tax returns. Okay, they have your 2 years tax returns. They have your credit. They may need to rerun your credit, but you should already be putting together your pay stubs. Okay, you're going to want to see a month worth of pay stubs. Make sure you've been saving those pay stubs. So now you're in this process. You can say, okay, I have my pay stubs. Let me provide it to the mortgage lender right away.
Right. Because once the seller signs and the check is deposited, it is a fully executed contract.
Right.
That means that you are now, the house is off the market. It's put as pending on multiple listing, which means that it's not being shown any longer. It's your house. Now we're waiting for there to be an appraisal date.
Right,
So,
an appraisal date, but that's going to happen during the financing process.
Right.
That's why I want you to have your pay stubs ready, because what I want you to do is make the process easy for yourself, your mortgage lender, and everyone. So As soon as your contract is signed and it's fully executed by all parties, then what you do is you're going to provide that copy to your mortgage person. You're going to send them your most recent month of pay stubs. Now, what you did in essence by doing that is you just satisfied conditions, because when they approve you, they're going to say, okay, you're approved, but these are the conditions of the approval. We need a contract that's fully executed. We need a month worth of pay stubs. We need this. So by handing these things over, you're already satisfying that, and you're moving the process in the right direction.
So as the broker, as your buyer broker, we show up at the appraisal. It's the listing agent and the buyer's agent with the appraiser. The homeowner's not there, you as the buyer are not there, and what the agents do is they bring comparable sales.
You can be there, but there's no real point in being there.
I've never had one person being there, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I've had people who am I able to go, or, I want to see the house again, or, you know what, I want to go take measurements.
Yeah, I don't usually let that. I usually, no, never with me, not with me.
But sometimes people ask.
Yeah, the answer's no. Anyway, sorry.
The answer is no with Mel.
Yes.
With me, it's a maybe.
No. Don't worry. I'll make sure he says no. So it's a no. It's a hard no. Anyway, we bring the different comparables, and in a couple of weeks, they let us know whether or not it appraised, which means it came in by the appraiser who ran his comps or her comps and said, yes, it is worth X number of dollars and the sale's good to go through. That's now the waiting process. This is when the buyer has to come up with all the paperwork that's needed by the bank to push the mortgage through to the point that they're ready, right?
Yeah, of course, there's always going to be things to do, and that's why I want you to, as soon as you get that contract signed, to start giving them things like the contract, like a month's worth of pay stubs.
And then they'll give you a list after that. So they'll come up with things, they'll reach out to you. We're in touch with everybody. And then let's say you're clear to close.
Yeah, because once you do the appraisal and the appraisal's out of the way and the value came in at what you're paying for the home or higher, then you're good to go. Like now we're running to the second half of the mortgage process.
Oh, I forgot.
But
we
what's
get
going to
a
happen is
commitment letter.
you got to always keep updating documents.
Yes, but once you get the commitment letter, you're locked in, right?
Well, they're locked in because they have, yes, they have the approval.
They're locked
Everyone
in, it's
knows,
good to
yes,
go.
they qualified for the loan.
They qualified, and
You're
we're just
locked
waiting
in.
for you to clear to close.
You're locked
So that's that. So let's say we get up to that point. 2 weeks before you end up purchasing the property, you're going to start turning over the utilities. You're going to be calling all the utility companies, and you're going to be saying, X, I'm going to be purchasing the property. X is the closing date. Now that I know what it is, and I'm going to be assuming the, electric as of X date, the gas as of X date, and you want to transfer everything over. So that way things aren't turned off, and then you have to wait to get them turned back on. So that's, a heavy thing.
Yeah, and if you have good representation, they're going
to prepare you.
They should prepare you for that. They should give you all the numbers and all the information you need and explain to you the entire process.
So the next step and the last step would really be the walkthrough. So there's a walkthrough. The walkthrough means that you go in, you see the house, it should be empty, and it's expected to be broom swept, which means it's not going to be scrubbed to the point that, the sink is glistening and you can eat off the floors. It's just going to be people that moved out that left it in as good a condition as they could. So it's pretty much like that.
Right.
They're not supposed to leave behind furniture unless agreed upon, or back, furniture in the yard, or grills, or this or that. All that stuff is supposed to be removed. If there's any problems, like let's say you walk in and the dishwasher isn't turning on, or the washer dryer are not working anymore. These are things that you need to bring up to your attorney before the closing actually happens. So even though people like to do it the morning of the closing and go straight from the the inspection to the closing, it's not really a good idea, because
Yeah,
if
try to
something
avoid that.
does happen, there's not enough time for that seller to fix it. And if they don't have enough time to fix it and show it to you, it could be a whole big back and forth at closing and just
Yeah.
get ugly.
I mean, typically they go smooth. I mean, normally 90% of the time, or even higher, it's just a formality.
Correct.
Because the property really, you're going just to make sure that it's in the condition that it was when you saw it initially, when you did the inspection.
Correct.
Okay, so basically you're gonna go and you should, if everything was working, everything should be working.
You just make sure it's working again.
Right, so if all the burners on the stove are working, you're gonna turn them on again to make sure they're still working. It's just really a formality, and normally it's a smooth process, nothing
Normally
really
it
comes up.
is.
And it shouldn't, because if they have good representation as sellers, they're gonna make sure they catch any little problem.
Correct.
Before we get to that
Now,
stage.
sometimes there's a post-possession, which means that the closing happens and then the person that's living in the house doesn't move out for a week or two. So sometimes you could have two walkthroughs. One right before closing, where you get to see the condition, and then they hold money in escrow for you to then go and do another walkthrough when it is post-closing, and you're going to be, getting the house. So you'd walk around, you make sure there's no holes in the walls, everything's still working again, and then they can release the money from escrow. So that's really, what happens with the walkthrough stuff.
Yeah.
Then it's going to the closing.
That's it. The day to celebrate.
Day to celebrate. We go with you. Typically, we arrive a little late because it's a crowded room. You've got two lawyers in there. You've got the title company. You've got the bank attorney. You've got your family, or it's just a whole crowd of people. So we're usually in the waiting room, there to celebrate with you, to be happy for you that everything is good to go. And that's where you get your keys and you begin your new life in your new place.
That day should go pretty smoothly. Sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it
But
doesn't.
generally, if everything was done right, it'll go smooth. You'll just basically, bring in any final funds, and you're going to sign the closing documents, which is going to be a lot of signatures. So make sure you stretch your wrists, because you're going to be signing a lot. But other than that, it should be a smooth, smooth part of the day, and they give you your keys, and it's your home.
Yeah, and that's it. It sounds like a lot. It is a lot, but that's why we're here to get you through everything. Your agent or broker that you're working with should be able to talk you through everything. We like to prepare everyone so that they know what's going on. We keep in close touch. We're always answering our phone. It's because we want you to be comfortable the whole way through and know what's happening and be able to ask these questions. So, I will tell you that it's funny. A lot of people think that the agents set the closing date, but it's not us. It's the attorneys that set the closing date.
And the bank.
The seller's attorney.
If there's a bank involved.
If there's a bank involved, the seller's attorney hears from the bank, and they set up the date, and they reach out to the buyer's attorney and say, this is the date and the time. So let's say you're going on vacation or your kid's graduating or whatever. You're supposed to have given those dates in advance. That way they can pass them along to the seller's attorney, and the seller's attorney can say to the bank, attorney, that day won't work, and put it on the schedule for a different day. So all those things really need to be in order.
Yeah,
oh my God. You know what I forgot?
What you forgot?
Lead paint.
Oh, lead paint disclosure. Okay, so
Lead paint
I'll make
disclosure.
it really brief.
Yeah.
All right. If your home was built, if the home was built before 1978, okay, you're gonna be provided a lead-based paint disclosure to sign.
Yes.
Okay, it's basically acknowledging that the house was built prior to 1978. And there's no knowledge. The seller has no knowledge about any lead paint in the house, and that's just typical.
And it's very typical. It's not really a big deal. It's nothing that you should be afraid of. Right. It's just they're letting you know that the change happened. And I mean, my old house was built in the 50s, and it had lead paint. But I mean, who knows? We didn't make a big stink about it. And then our house now was built in 1930. I'm sure there's lead paint somewhere, but it's not really a big deal.
What happens is throughout the year, people paint over and over and over, or they remodeled the whole house and got rid of it. But that's a disclosure they'll end up providing you, and you'll sign. It's normally not a big deal.
No.
And they'll give you a brochure or at least some sort of information on
Yes.
lead paint.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's it. That's
yeah.
that's.
So
I think
buyers,
that's the
I
only
hope
thing
you
forgot.
found this informative.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, we're Team Bonafide. You can look us up, find us online. Very simple. We're everywhere. And sellers, of course, same thing. We're here for you. We hope you found this segment helpful.
Oh, one more thing though.
Uh-oh.
When you see the house that you love, don't think I could do better and wait. Don't just wait
Isn't
on
that,
it. Sit on it.
It's like a spouse.
Well, yeah, it
like
is. But, you know, just before Jesse ends, we looked at how many houses?
One.
We looked at one.
Just one house.
I'm not kidding.
I want to show her a
One.
community. We saw a for sale sign. It happened to be that they were having an open house within an hour.
I did the comps in
went,
the car.
And Mel's like, she told the realtor, and this is true story. She said, "This is my house. This is my house.
I go, this is my house.
Tell me what I have to pay."
Tell me what I have to pay. And that was it. I did. And you know what? When he came back with the number, it was 7,500 higher than the highest comp in the area that I had already known, because before we walked in the open house, I knew what the comps were. I had already done it. And it just was so perfect.
Yeah.
So we jumped on it.
That's right.
So don't hesitate. That's the only one
No,
thing.
if you love it,
If you love it,
and
just,
it's in your
just
within
go
your
for
numbers, just go for it.
it. And when they call you and they tell you the number and your husband says,
That was me.
and I'm like, dude, you're a broker. What's wrong with you? And he's like, he couldn't wrap his head around it. And I was
It
like,
all worked
dude,
out.
you're going to regret it. I'm not letting you. And we did it. And
Yeah.
are you happy we did?
I'm super happy. I love our house. Well, guys, I hope you found this helpful, and we'll see you soon. Thank
Yes. Take care,
you.
guys.
Remember to like and subscribe.
Yes. And
Take
happy
care.
house hunting.
That's right.